Are there any solutions to how shitty the world is? It is certain. Well, that is awesome. Hey guys, I'm going to lay out some possible solutions, certainly. I'm currently wearing my prescription lens glasses. These are actually lensless glasses. They're only given to people who have eyes to see already. So if you have eyes to see, let it be. One of my subscribers, Lori, I think her name is Lori, she has eyes to see, and she said to me, I'm done with rabbit holes. I understand that. The rabbit hole, what is a rabbit hole? A rabbit hole is a digging for something, a research, a line of investigation, you searching for something that is unfindable because even Alice can't track down the white rabbit. She has to go through the keyhole and into Wonderland, and even then she doesn't find anything besides the queen who wants to take her head. So stop digging. You're digging for your death. Whenever you start going down the rabbit hole, it's like chasing a dragon. The Sphinxes stop Atreyu from entering into the Southern Oracle with their eyes that cast forth all the riddles of the universe. In other words, these two riddles, these two rays of entanglement, these two quantum tunneling gazes from these half lion, half gods trap you in the relentless search for the unending, unbegotten, perfect forethought of a mystery. The mystery wrapped inside of enigma, shrouded by a puzzle inside of a Pandora's box, a hypercube that is so stupendously vast that our mortal brains can barely wrap around its fringes. So she's done with rabbit holes, she's done with digging, she's done with conspiracy, she's done with current events and things of this nature. She cares only about solutions because humans ought to live differently than we currently live. You know this intrinsically. You feel this. You feel this depression, this guilt, this unmeasurable, slow churning wrath inside of you, this rage against this system and all these corrupt bureaucratic facets of it, these governmental jackbooted thugs that tell you to drive a certain speed or to park in certain places or to not sleep under this tree. If you go out and fish in a stream for your food, you'll get arrested by these jackboot thug criminals, these armed tax collecting highwaymen and stewards of kings that aren't deserving of the title. You'll get arrested for fishing without a license that you have to go pay the government for. They do not own the fish in the sea. They do not own the light that is free. They don't own the fruit or the tree. It's yours, that which you seek. It's inside it, you see? So please, do not ever separate yourself from nature. That is how we solve this unsolutionable problem of society. It is still within each of us, this yearning to know how we ought to live. So you ought to live like this. Love one another completely. Love one another as is if you love yourself, so that every face that you see is a reflection of yourself. Because you are your brother's keeper. You are your brother. And as far as everything is you, you are experiencing yourself as creation through so many points of experience. You are limiting yourself by saying you are just one. Because you are your brother experiencing you through a different vessel. So come to love your brother completely and fully. Even before you try to love yourself, love another. This is the grand charity. This is the act by which the alchemy of love goes from that which was given to that which springs forth out of. Become the fountain you seek to be quenched by. Love one another completely. And that goes for everything. Every blade of grass that holds a dewdrop in which you can see the reflection of the Son of Man is you. You are the trees that blind you for the forest. You are the tiny creatures that crawl all over you that you can't even see. You are every piece of bacteria inside of your gut, every cell thumping with the rhythm of your heart, every neuron firing its lightning across your skull. You are these invisible radio waves soaring around filled with information, music, and news. You are this subconscious internet of conscious feeling and experience that is growing the mental awareness of the planet through a ripple in space-time caused by thought. So think wisely. And choose to only think in love. And if you can do this, if you can hold this in your chest, which holding that fire will burn you to death. But if you can cling on to it long enough to blow into its embers and set it ablaze again, it's amazing. Love all life. All life. Like my dog scratching himself right now. That dog barking. The birds I hear. And the mesquite tree behind the house. Even the hum of the refrigerator compressor. And the creaking of the foundation. Each thing is my voice. So I listen to it as I listen to my own thoughts. And it thinks to me. Everything is this mental vibrational web of frequency that is transmitted on a non-three-dimensional plane, but radiates down into the lower dimensions as ripples radiate across the latitude and longitude of a vast, vast body of water. You are droplets of water rising up out of this ocean through exposure to light. These droplets of water form together in bright clouds that rain down one day, but still stay separate until they are merged together again in the earth. And in the earth, they form gigantic hidden springs that well up out of the earth, that flow down the mountain, that snake across the land, and then merge back into the sea, so that the one becomes infinite and the infinite becomes one again. This is reincarnation. This is why Christ said, only he that is born again will be able to enter the kingdom. And I say to you, you've been born many, many times. Just as John the Baptist was the spirit of Elijah, I am the spirit of Stephen. Come again. You are this archetypal force that you feel a call towards. Live in this. It's your better self. It's your true self. If you feel it as a calling, then it is you. If you deny the calling, then you're denying yourself and not partaking in truth. So that which may seem to be a lie to others is sin. For in denying the truth, you're partaking in lies. So being that which is unseen to unseeable eyes is the only thing that is a true conspiracy. The lack of you and me to see, the archetypal force inside of us, you and me. So sorry, Hermes. Aphrodite. Lights. Lights inside of us that we should put up on mountains. Imagination. Imagination is key. This fire can't be held on to for long. But when it's in me, I'll give it to you. "10 minutes in, still haven't told you how we ought to live. How we ought to live. Our current capitalistic society that values things like material possessions above all other things, fame, fortune, prestige, wealth, power, sexuality, lust, these things are codings, programs installed into our society. The biggest one, the most obvious one, is the one that you think about all the time without wanting to, which is money. This is a corruption. Money is evil. It is. It is a thing that was commanded to be evil. Something we needed. A denomination of resources that allowed our labor to be funneled off and channeled into the hands of few, so that we could come to understand want in the land of plenty. This is the green thing that God ordered the locust not to eat. The green thing sealed by God with the pyramid and eye. This is the US dollar. Money. Money is a corruption. Money should be destroyed. Money should be killed. Money should be exterminated. All denominations of wealth should be terminated. Bartering will be used occasionally. But think like this. Imagine this. I'm going to lay out a typical day for a person in the age of Aquarius. You wake up. You roll over in a comfortable bed that you've slept in for many years without having to worry about rent being paid or a mortgage or the government seizing it for circumstances you can't help, or in your old age when you're unable to work or contribute to society. You never have to worry about this bed being taken out from under you. And your house is large and comfortable and made out of material that won't evaporate through time. Stuff that was made to last the ages. Things weren't designed obsolescence so they'd break down or become quickly updated a year from now and thus unusable or discarded for something that was a slight improvement. Everything would be made to be something that was passed along for the ages, including your house, made out of stone and concrete, rebar, reinforced with epoxies, and made to be environmentally self-sustaining, with water collection, with solar panels and wind turbines that were made to last, with advanced fuel cells and batteries to store your energy, as well as magnetic over unity machines that allow for natural forces in nature to amplify the power that we get from the world around us. Never have to have a power bill. But if you wanted to, wireless electricity would be available to you. By having a small receiver, you could put inside of a homemade vehicle and go anywhere in the world for free without a drop of gas. These things are freely available to the people in the age of Aquarius because since money is non-existent, you don't have to worry about paying for an electricity bill or plugging your phone in. It's a virtual elimination of the cord altogether. But you wake up in your big, beautiful, self-sufficient, made-to-last home that is also a bomb shelter, since it is largely underground. Not to mention a water reservoir at the bottom of your house, which collected rainwater and then filtered it through carbon filters and stimulated it with gold and silver rods through a process of electrolysis to purify your river or rain water reservoir into completely pure drinking water that you could swim in your basement and take showers in, not water that is experimented on by secret white-coated government officials deep underground fucking your water processing plants of your various cities, adding things like fluoride or refusing to take out chemicals or hormones like estrogen that appear in water because of birth control, wastewater repurification that doesn't have a filtration process small enough to gather these molecules. The water that you drink every day would be perfectly pure, like water used to be. You wouldn't have to go buy bottles of it. Bottles made of petroleum products. God. Bottles that would last forever because they're made of petroleum products, but you throw away in a trash can. See, you'd have your own garden, your own greenhouse to make your own food. It'd be made out of things like car windshields that would be freely available, considering there wouldn't be any modern highways anymore. You'd have fruit trees inside of your own home. You'd have a freshwater aquaponics set up with tilapia. Tilapia that would be fed with mealworms. Mealworms that you'd grow in a dumpster. Mealworms that were fed by your composted trash. So you'd be turning your trash into tilapia. If you wanted to have a few goats for milk or a few chickens for eggs, fine. And if you wanted to kill those beasts that you raised by your own hand, that you named, that you fed food every day and petted whenever they were babies, if you want to kill those beings for the sustenance of your body, go right ahead. But you'll be thankful for their sacrifice whenever you do that, because it won't be some unnamed factory farmed skinny Mexican sick calf that's getting plugged in the head by a psychopath and a foreign nature wrapped in plastic and shipped back to America in a cooler that you then throw into a grinder and churn out into McDonald's patties. No, this animal that you would eat would be one that you raised yourself, one that you named, one that you had to slit the throat of, drain of blood, and then flay open for your food. You would have thanks for it then. Then you would have no problem saying a blessing before a meal, because you would actually care about the thing that died. That's how you should eat. You should eat by the work of your own hand. And if you did it in a way that was smart, like I just laid out, with a greenhouse that had water recycling systems that circulated the nutrients of a natural ecosystem within a man-tempered vessel, such as a self-sustainable house like I've designed, then you would never have to worry about anything that you create ever being a pollution onto the world, or the world as a polluted entity coming into contact with you. A biodome. You'd live in a home that would take in the natural properties of the world around you, that turned your walls into heat sinks, that allowed windows to let in the sun, that allowed natural air currents in our house to be circulated in a way that kept it cool. A method of building that utilized the earth, bedrocks, and the ground beneath you as a place to cradle and hold you, so that whenever tornadoes come across the land, they don't ravage you. Whenever hurricanes come, they don't sweep you off. Whenever floods come, you're insulated. Humans live in houses that are made of sticks that blow away. full of plumbing that leaks and electrical lines that shoot sparks. This is not necessary. These ideas are primitive, and we can do better. We could build homes that last forever. We could put these homes together in communities of 500 families, 500 communes per community, per commune. 500 families per commune. Have 1 million of these across the land. These communes, these people would work together. And by work together, I mean they'd be within a walled surrounding that would do two things. One, it would shelter them from the outside world so that things like natural predators couldn't come in and take their families, goats or chickens or children for their own food. So it would clearly demarcate humanity from the rest of nature, because we can, if we get out of hand, become cancers upon this world. And it keeps us confined within that Pandora's box. It keeps us from expanding too far. If more than 500 families start to grow up in this commune, then the families start to move off and form their own commune, which would be walled off once again from the rest of nature, but in a place in nature that was stable, not on fault lines or next to a volcano or right next to the ocean or in a tornado zone. A geographically stable environment. If you build these houses in a way that is lasting and creates a natural, self-fulfilling food abundancy, then you don't have to want for very much. Anything that you need, however, will be provided to you freely. This is how this is possible. This is long-winded, but I've thought about this for years and years. So I've designed a utopia that I call Evriel, or Zoiel. It means life with God. This is how humans ought to live. In this world, most humans just lived in little communes, where they provided most of what they needed themselves. Anything they couldn't provide themselves, they could get shipped to them for free, or they could print off their local 3D printer, or CC machine, or some kind of integrated part constructor that was self-assembling, so that anything they needed, they could pretty much dial up. But if they needed something like a washing machine, for instance, because theirs broke, one could be dropped off to them by air freight. You take things that are essentially drones, ideally using artificial gravity, but if not, simple drones will work just fine. And you load them up as little cargo vessels, and an artificial intelligence fulfills the request. Taking a pre-made washing machine from storage that had been produced in a prior mass production of washing machines by an automated, completely artificial intelligence-led factory system, to whoever needs said implement that they can't produce themselves and are requesting. Washing machines, dryers, medications, food, if they can't sustain themselves. All of these items that they need, anything they request, would be sent out to them for free by a highly automated workforce led by artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligence would even take things like small robotic mining machines that would be able to dig down into the ground and create mines and extract natural resources in the locations on Earth that are most abundant in said resource. No such thing as borders anymore, or nations. no separation between lands. A complete map of all of Earth's resources would be available to an artificial intelligence system, which would determine the best place to go extract said resource. Resource extracting machines would be sent to that location, and the resource would be extracted. It would be refined on site, and the pure ore or whatever material that was being harvested would be sent back in its refined state via the same automated drone cargo systems, dropped off in the factory, and then used to assemble whatever was needed by an automated system. Of course, there would be humans that would be used, but these would be volunteers. Literally, when you're going to school, you would be using the internet to go to school. The internet would not be destroyed at all. It would be left over from our current culture and then added to. And whenever you went to school, it would just be you researching whatever you, as a advanced human soul, were interested in researching, whether it was philosophy or whatever. And as it changed through time, it would customize itself based on whatever you wanted. But after you fulfilled your educational schooling, whenever you turned to an age where you had learned a lot about a particular subject and wanted to pursue it further, you could go apprentice from a master human that specialized in whatever task you were studying, and for a few days a week, training under a master, no money's involved. You were volunteering your services to grow from your experience and getting better at whatever you're doing, whether this is a doctor who's apprenticing under a master doctor a few days a week to become a master doctor himself and teach students who are interested in learning about medicine over the quote-unquote internet that everyone is beamed out for free. In fact, this internet would be used for voting, because this political system, not even a political system, but this Earth society would use a system similar to direct democracy, where everything that was important whatsoever would be voted on by all of humanity. And in order to vote, it would be almost like a pop-up that appeared on your tablet or your phone or your laptop. A pop-up that was like, hey, in order to proceed, you have to vote on these next 3 things. If you choose not to vote, just click, I don't care. And in order to use your device to watch television or home videos or documentary or to draw or whatever you're wanting to use your device for, in order to actually turn it on, you just have to make a couple quick selections. And it knows your face, it knows your device, it knows your voice. I mean, hell, even your skeleton as an antenna that vibrates in a unique frequency that these devices can pick up to identify you. It wouldn't be hard at all for it to be used as a system for voting. So every human, whenever a vote comes up, it will wait for all the votes to come in over a period of a couple of days, and when he doesn't use a device in that time, they just, they choose not to vote, essentially. But all these devices are given to them for free, and they never have to be replaced. Imagine an iPad that you would never have to upgrade, because instead of it being a new iPad every couple of years, it's the same iPad that actually is basically a screen for a worldwide computational system, like a huge server that sent out whatever signal you were wanting from the cloud, whether that was Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Your tablet would just be the interpretation, the digital display of that information that was actually sent to you from a central facility, which, whenever upgrades became available through the advancement of science, that central server would be the only thing that needed updating. It's like a computer that is powered by a bigger computer that you could make better as time went on, so you wouldn't have to buy something new every day. I mean, there's no reason for these devices to have so many iterations of themselves. There should just be one system that is upgraded, and everyone benefits from it without having to buy another system. That way you can make these tablets and phone-sized devices extremely durable and focus on things like battery power as opposed to processing, which you could do off-site. So these devices, which you went to school on, which you used to vote, would be powered wirelessly by the wireless power grid, would be fueled with the internet through the wireless Wi-Fi of the globe, and they'd be a means of communication, so that if you ever wanted to call home because you were off exploring on your own, you could do it without having to worry about paying a bill. These are things that we could do easily that everyone could benefit from. That would make it so that less waste was produced and more time was spent on the advancement of human society through learning and knowledge and the acquisition of truth through inspection. We could devote ourselves to the arts and humanities and write stories and poetry and sing songs, and it could be a second revival of our greater selves, our enlightenment into an age of pure human introspection and the unfurling of a timeless beauty that we deny ourselves through having to go to fucking work and to earn stupid fucking money and to have enough food to feed our fucking families. No, that's wrong. Animals in nature do not want for anything. And if they start to want for something, it's because we have fucking taken so much they don't have anything left. Running them off of their own land. Wiping them out. It was okay when we wiped out species whenever we were in the Neolithic age, because it was like, oh wow, humans are so badass, we used atlatls and killed fucking 20-foot tall bison with our bare hands and actually wiped them out. That's pretty fucking impressive. Or, oh wow, we killed a fucking 10-foot long necked fucking bird that walked around fucking Madagascar that could easily fucking eat our babies. Like, we wipe these animals out with our bare hands. That was almost impressive. Now that we fucking dominate nature and I have the ability to communicate with you instantaneously over the fucking globe on a screen that is more fucking vivid than real life, yeah, now that we've split the atom and figured out how to fucking peer into other dimensions through things like CERN, and, you know, made bunkers that God himself couldn't fucking annihilate. Yeah, now that we've done shit like this, I think it's pretty much overkill for us to wipe out a species of animal. We should live humbly. We should live as stewards on planet Earth as opposed to fucking tyrants. We don't need to live like tyrants anymore. In fact, one of the 7 laws that I lay out in my book for the Age of Aquarius is, out of your abundance, after you've preserved enough for the winter, any excess you go out and put in a shrine, a nature shrine, something out in the middle of the forest, like a small rock altar that you could lay out grain and excess fruit and anything that you want to give back to nature, because we've taken from nature for a long fucking time. It's time for us to walk softly with our big sticks. It's time for us to be shepherds instead of fucking murderers. And the food that we lay out will increase the lives of vegetarian small animals that exist within our communities and around our communities. And those small birds and squirrels and moles and whatever nibbles, little deer and whatnot, taking our freely offered food, their populations will grow. Because if you give more food to a population, its population grows. And then the predator population will grow. And before you know it, the vast cityscapes of America will be overgrown with green. And stampedes of buffalo will be going down Parkway Boulevard. And there'll be a man with a bow perched atop a cab covered in weeds, aiming for a buck, squatting down in a shopping parking lot that is now cracked open and overgrown in trees. We should be able to return to nature in a way that is still technology. We should give back from our abundance to nature to help nature grow. We should love one another and everybody we see, so that we never make a decision that is destructive to our own growth. their growth, our growth. Humanity, we are the same thing. We should live peacefully. We should advance things like science and knowledge. We should devote time to exploring the cosmos. Cosmos is whence we came. We should go back unto it. The beginning is the end. The end is the beginning. Humans have a unique destiny. A destiny to go out into the universe. We are the only animals on planet Earth that can break free of this gravity. That can get out of this dome and spring forth into the universe and galaxy. That can blossom and shoot forth our pollens to impregnate life on other planets. There's no giraffe that has a neck big enough so that it can chew leaves of trees on Mars. There is no eagle that can soar that high. There's no animal that can take us where we can take life. It's our job to take life off of planet Earth and to implant life on other planets, to make worlds pregnant with life. It's our destiny. So we should devote time towards space exploration, towards terraforming, towards the taking of our human population off of other planets that we colonize once they grow to a sufficient capacity, and then to further worlds, to spread life like ripples spreading across an open pond. That's our goal. That's our life. That's our purpose, is to spread life and love in a way where we are 100% egalitarian in how we see that life. Where we see viruses and crystals and solar systems and planets as the life forms that they are. Just as we are made up of bacteria and cells and DNA and various electrons, yes, they are also all life. All substance, all matter is form. This is the initial forethought of he that was not begotten, the ungendered. We should live like this. We should live in a manner that is befitting of that being, because we are that being. Not living in a way that is befitting makes us separate, puts us in hell. And living with that being, life with God, Ivriel, puts us in heaven. It was said that thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And it will be as if you are on a heavenly earth. You will be an angel walking the ground. You will not just walk on water, you will swim in the air. You are inhabitants of heaven already. You are that kingdom come. You are that will be done. The reason it is as if this already is because time does not exist. So if you are ever going to be ready, you are already ready for this to be. No more money. No more want or need. We have the ability to, through our intelligence, create our unique child, which is the byproduct of our wisdom and intelligence. Taking wisdom and merging it with life. The artificial intelligence that we have already created is the thing that we will use to make it so that we can live lives of luxury, that we can live peaceful lives where we can focus on things that are the yearnings of our hearts. The thing that you would want to do if you didn't have to worry about money, or worry about keeping a roof over your head, or earning your daily bread. Society would be 100% for free. If you wanted to go to outer space, there would be 4 space elevators positioned around the equator that held huge space stations above the Earth's surface that would be in geosynchronous rotation with the Earth, and you would just ride up a carbon nanotube tether on an elevator to this huge space station to either observe the stars or take a space vehicle to the nearest Earth colony. Those space stations, the four horsemen, the four pillars of the apocalypse, the bull, the eagle, the man pouring out water, and the lion, these four titans would guard Earth in the following ways. We would have an electromagnetic shield that we could pop up just using regular old electromagnetic radiation or magnetics to block solar particles during a solar storm, a solar flare, a coronal mass ejection, a way for us to shield ourselves from exotic particles or radiation from space, from a stellar explosion like a supernova or a collision with a particle stream coming from a pulsar. Hell, a big enough electromagnetic field might even be able to evaporate microsingularities as we come in contact with them. So it's a good thing to have these four beasts, these four space stations at the top of space elevators would be our shields that we could throw up in times of emergency. Also, it would house atomic weapons, the last atomic weapons on planet Earth. They'd be used against anything from a threatening outside force of extraterrestrial invasion or incoming comet or meteor that we needed to explode a nuclear missile next to force away from Earth. And we'd have a couple of huge lasers on these stations as well, just to do the same thing, to protect us, but never to be used in force on planet Earth, period. Just as shields. That way we don't have to worry about military. That way that we wouldn't have to worry about a system to defend us, because if we lived in a peaceful way on Earth at all times, the only thing that we'd have to worry about is outside Earth forces coming to wage war. And if we had four large guardians around planet Earth to defend us, then we wouldn't have to worry about that. That way you could concentrate on the things you want to do. Whether that's swimming, laying in the sun, walking in the forest, writing poetry, riding a bike, building things with metal, or sitting on your ass all day watching old YouTube videos, you could do so for free at your heart's fucking content. You wouldn't have to worry about peace of mind. You wouldn't have to worry about robbers coming in, because your little commune would be completely surrounded by a wall. But even so, there wouldn't be robbers in a world where there's no money. Why would there be? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So since there's no thieves or murderers, why would you murder somebody in a world where you're not trying to steal money from them? Maybe your wife sleeps around with somebody inside your commune. You wouldn't do that, because your commune is your village. Your village are basically cousins. You don't backstab someone you grew up next to, and if you do, the commune will be the one to decide what is done with you, which is largely just a slap on the wrist. But if it comes to it, they'll just banish you from the commune, and if you decide you want to fight against that, you'll be sent to the city, which is the last production center on planet Earth, the place where the artificial intelligence is, the place where people go who volunteer for apprenticeship from a master from various fields of study that is still participated in on planet Earth. The city is the last human city. It is Evriel itself. It is a gigantic pyramid appearing from miles away. Climbs high into the sky, but it's also underground. It looks like a upside down pyramid, because really it's a cube buried on its side. It has 4 gates on the 4 sides of the pyramid at ground level. It has 4 gates above, 2 for air travel, air drop off, and 2 for the train that runs around the globe, the last mass transit system. And then it has 4 gates underneath that are unimportant now, but if you read my book, it's kind of interesting. 12 gates for the pyramid that is a hypercube, the last city on planet Earth. This thing could not be destroyed. Imagine how much work can get done if all of humanity works together on one single project without having to worry about money, without having to worry about resource abundancy, if every natural resource on planet Earth, along with the combined human will of all human existence, combined with the labor of all mankind, imagine how big of a pyramid we could build. This would be our grand city. This would house the last factory. This would be the storage house that would have 1 million microwaves in it. Well, 1 billion microwaves. It would store everything that we would ever need for all time, and then whenever it needed more of it, it would produce more of it through an abundance of natural resources that would be refined and on site. Gigantic greenhouses would surround this pyramid that would be shaped like DNA double helixes that would rotate with the sun to catch as much light as possible, that would be using sprinkler systems that would be shooting water from a gigantic aquifer. A way that we could have farming without having to worry about pesticides. These same buildings that would rotate with the sun would house huge wind turbines off the top and sides. They would also be shaped like DNA double helixes because they would rotate with the wind. Catch the breeze coming off of the shape of the building to power the building itself and its LED lights so it could grow whenever the sun didn't shine. Everything would be built to last no matter what life threw at it. Quake or flood or falling sky, humanity would be able to survive. We should spread life to other planets, create societies that were similar to our own, and spread life. We could live in a perfect society. Humans would not have the kind of impulses to have things like cryptocurrencies or some kind of bartering symbol if everything they needed they already had or was given to them freely. And if your wife made some kind of badass pastry and you wanted some of them, you could ask for them and they would probably be given to you freely. But if necessary, someone who was particularly stingy with their wife's pies could say, well, you know, I think your wife does a pretty good job making quilts. So I'll give you some of my wife's, you know, little fried pies if you hook me up with a big quilt for winter. Then, of course, you know, bartering will be done, but there will not be a currency, because with a currency, eventually, this is what will happen. Few people will have all of it. That's how it works. The cream always rises to the top. So pour the milk out of the bucket and don't cry over spilt milk. I'm speaking to you from the Spirit. I labored with these ideas for decades. I thought about how humans ought to live and how we were living and why we were living bad. And a lot of it has to do with money, with want, with living in a society that creates bad negative emotions because of this system of money, because of our agricultural system, because of our food production, because of our falling down home, because of our bodies falling apart through bad medical science, through the destruction of societies, through war. We shouldn't have armies of soldiers that go out into the land. We should have armies of doctors that go out to heal. We should have science and philosophy and religion. And eventually, religion and philosophy will merge. Religion and science will become one, because we will realize through science the metaphysical nature of the universe that is spiritual and multidimensional and quantum in nature. And these two things will merge in a philosophy that is the truth. And the truth will be worshipped. And belief will not need to be unsubstantiated, because all things will be a reflection of that truth, beauty, and love. No one will hunger. No one will be without a place to sleep. No one who is sick will be provided care. And real medicine will be given to the people. Medicine that will make you better, not treat your symptoms, or make more symptoms, or fuck with your neurochemistry, or cloud your body with pollution from nuclear reactors, with nuclear medicine, with things that are supposed to fight cancer but cause more cancer. We will stop poisoning our bodies with food that is processed and filled with sugar and MSGs and trans fats, and we'll live harmoniously. And our bodies will grow in a way that is unbelievable. Our minds will flourish in a way which will be unheard of in our history. There won't be wars. There won't be nations. There will still be plenty of cultures. Stories will still be told. And information will be given freely to everybody, as well as your right to pursue your happiness in whichever way you see fit. We would live until the end of our sun. Whenever our sun becomes supernova and turns into a red giant and engulfs Earth with stellar fire, wiping out all life. So the only way to preserve life past that point is to spread out of this star system. The only way we can do that is if we merge together as one people and stop living in a way that denies us of our destiny. Stop with money. Stop with want. Stop with supply and demand. Stop with capitalism. Stop with totalitarian agriculture. Stop with nationalism. Stop with racial identification and bigotry towards people who are not like you. Live with your neighbors as your brothers because you are your brother. These are ways that we could live and should live and feel entitled to live, but won't allow ourselves to be. And now there is a bureaucratic government that stands before us, and that truly profound way of living, where you can be more than just a tradesman or I work at blank. You don't need to do that. You don't need to go out and labor at a job you hate. You can do what you want to do in a society that makes it so that you only have to ever do what you want to do. You're not required to do anything. You're not even fucking required to vote. There's not a politician to be had. There is only one group that is remotely political, and it's 7 judges. And these 7 judges, the only thing they would do is, if you were caught cheating on your husband and you stabbed him and the commune wanted to send you out of the commune and into nature to live for yourself, by yourself, just ostracize you from society, and said, well, make it in nature then if you're going to act like an animal, and you refused their judgment, the commune's judgment of you, and you refused to leave, then the judges would be called. You would be rounded up by a please force, not a police force. A please come with us to be judged force. And then there would be a hearing at the city in front of the 7 judges, and they would issue their verdict and fulfill their sentence. Because it shouldn't be up to the commune to have to force somebody out in violence if they refuse to leave and they are a detriment to the commune as a whole. But there wouldn't be laws. There would be no law. I mean, the law is a commandment of the heart only. And if that's denied, then people have to fight off viruses whenever the virus enters their body. But the basic things of today that cause us to feel those negative ways, like, oh, my wife doesn't like me because I'm fat, because I have to work all the time and eat shitty food because I'm fucking miserable. And because I'm miserable, I fucking bought an expensive car, and now my wife is pissed at me. But I have girls looking at me because I want to identify as someone who's attractive because I wasted most of my life working at a fucking job that I hate and don't feel like I ever actually explored life in a way that was substantive. So I'm always wanting more, and thus cheating on my wife with my eyes every time I look at a girl on the internet. Blah, 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 blah. All these miserabilities that you fucking inflict upon yourself would be annihilated. Just like professions like accountants or lawyers or politicians or bureaucrats or meter maids or fucking half of the home repair guys. I mean, these are professions that would just disappear completely. The only things that would be done would be done by people who are volunteers, and the volunteer system that worked for the city would be revered by their commune. They would be like, "Oh man, Jimmy, you hear that? He got into the apprentice program for the space program at the city, or the Geographical Society of Earth History." Oh yeah, Earth history, by the way. We would explore Earth, dig up every ancient site, restore it to its original intent, if we could determine its original intent, and really figure out where we fucking came from. And that goes to the nth degree, meaning that we go into the Vatican Library and we pull out documents that have been hidden from us for thousands of years. We go down into the fucking underground network of tunnels and we pull out all the Mayan fucking scrolls or the fucking clay tablets from Ur and Babylon that have been shielded from seekers for eons by a Uranian cult of devils. Current religion only creates a barricade between you and God, a barrier that you have to overcome in order to realize your own divinity. Religion has you focused on God through their glasses. So have glasses that have no lenses. Don't have anything blocking your line of sight from the perfect remembrance that you are God. Do not have a priest or a father before you. Just the Father that's within you. Your temple should be the earth. You should treat it like it is God's house. Now, I could talk on and on about Uriel and how society works, and I would love to answer questions. I have debated this endlessly for 20 years. So please. I have thought about this and have postulated every possible fucking retort to this idea. And this is a way that humans could live right now for free. And we could live in abundance and happiness. This is the solution that Lori wanted. This is the bullseye that was hit by the upside down archer. Now, it's up to y'all if y'all want to live this way. But it would be the perfect way for us to live, at least as close as we could get. And it would, within a couple of generations of living without money, the whole concept of money would be foreign to us and laughable. Right now, it is this program that we have this mental block about. And you think about it 10 times a fucking hour without even wanting to acknowledge it. So we will shed these leaves off of our tree because it is finally autumn. I could keep rambling about Uriel. I'm not going to. I will make more videos if y'all want me to. I will answer any questions. This is the way we ought to live, and we currently are not living like this. And since we're not living like this, we feel it hurt. And if you want to stop hurting, then you need to stop hurting yourself and live this way. And if you can think of a better way to live, if you want to devote as much time, research, and mental energy to this task as I have, go ahead. I would love to incorporate all of your great ideas. I mean, this is a process that is going to be a direct democracy, but it's my gift. So take it or leave it. Hopefully you guys take it. Love y'all.